Today is February 20th, 2026, and it is Friday. That means there's a bunch of new releases, and we're going to talk about three of the best releases out today from my point of view, and then I'll mention 9 new releases coming out in the future, as well as share singles from those albums alongside the announcement. And we're going to start with, I think, probably the best album released today. That is Koskrad's Carving the Causeway to the Otherworld. This is out on 20 Buck Bin. It is a kind of a bestial Black Death record. If you found their last record abstract and voluminous and a little bit hard to like grab a hold of, I think this record and its different production style reveals a lot more of the fineries of their work, and also the riffcraft is just kind of amplified on this record. It's a great second album from a band. I still like that first record quite a bit, but this is the one that kind of hits as like a full package. Everything about this record is solid, and I had nothing but good things to say about in a written review. Check that out on the site. The other big deal from today is Mesotheist's latest album, De Pint. This is a band that thrives on the simplicity of their statement, but also the depth of their production values, the arrangements, and the symbolism of their work. A well above average band that has consistently produced some of the best black metal of this type for the last several years. I think their first album made it to number 2 on my best of list when it came out, and I think I would expect fairly high ranking for this one as well. It is, I would say, on par with that first record, and while still developing the ideas from the second, well worth a recommendation, and I would say essential. And finally, we have the latest album from Incandescence, a Quebec-based black metal band, a melodic black metal band in some respects, but certainly an aggressive one. I don't like the whole discography of the band, but I do think that they've improved quite a bit between this and the last record. So I reviewed it. You can check it out on the site and see what I thought about it. First up, we have the announcement of Chilean bestial war metal gore grind band MORS.VOID.DISCIPLINE. I can't pronounce the name of this record, but basically it's war metal mixed with gore grind, 90s gore grind of all things. And it's kind of an abstract formation that they managed across the streak of this record. I listened to it yesterday. Not sure that I'll write about it, but I do think this is interesting enough to recommend. Ukrainian technical thrash metal band Violent Omen have announced their upcoming CD, Locomotive of Chaos, which will release on Nocturnus Records in the near future. They sent me the announcement for the single, Path of Illumination. I haven't heard the full record, but I like this song. I appreciated how it developed, and any fan of technical thrash metal is looking for anything to listen to, so check this song out for now. So when I first got this announcement from Memento Mori and Night Terrors Records for Slovakian death metal band HROB's debut album, I thought that I was looking at like a new Frozen Soul cover or something like that. It was an interesting kind of double take that I took. But this is a very different kind of band. They mention everything from Paradise Lost and Septic Flesh to Disembowelment, and one of my favorite bands, Gorment, in the press release. So I had to check it out. So here's a song from the record. I think this is something I'm really anticipating for when it releases pretty soon here. So this isn't exactly breaking news, but Monstrosity have announced they're releasing a new album with Metal Blade on March 13th. Screams from Beneath the Surface is coming up here pretty soon, in just a few weeks. So this, I listened to it the first time yesterday and got the actual album. So this is just kind of me saying that I'm into this. I think it's a better version of Monstrosity than they've been on the last 2 records. Pretty close to some of those past results. But for this one, you can tell, as you can see in the way that they've kind of curated this video, this is a band that sounds like they did back in 1994. It kind of has that second album kind of feeling to it, and I'm completely here for it. I think Monstrosity were one of the best for those first 3 albums, and cannot wait to talk about this record. just because that's a really strong point of nostalgia for me, especially finding the second album and what that did to my interest in technical death metal as well as just classic old school death metal. Check this out for yourself. The single's been out for a while, but here's Colossal Rage. So you might recall that I'd enjoyed the previous kind of comeback record from Witchcraft, a Swedish doom metal band, a heavy rock band, and a pretty formative one for a certain scene or a reaction to it. And they've announced a new EP, which kind of seems to extend the sessions that came from that previous record. I was a huge fan of that album and went on about it, placed it on my best of 2025 list. So nothing but praise for what's happening on this EP. Heavy metal band Chariots Overdrive have announced their debut full-length album will release through Gates of Hell Records on April 3rd, and the end of Antiquity promises to feature a mixture of like new wave of British heavy metal songwriting as well as the energy of early United States power metal. And I think that they've sold that pretty well here with this eponymous song here, Chariots Overdrive. Check it out now and see if that's your kind of traditional heavy metal. Brazilian black metal band Ainsof Or might be difficult to remember. It's been, I think, over 10 years, 12 years since their last record. They put out 2 records on, I think, Drakkar Productions in the 2010s. And now they're back. They're on Voidhanger Records with I think a third full-length album called Theos Vel Samael. And this is a big one to look out for. Voidhanger just announced like 4 records at once. And this is the one that I kind of previewed the loudest to me. Check out the song Theos Vel Samael Part 2, and this is one that I'm absolutely looking forward to based on the first impression here. So I don't actually know very much about Towering. I don't know where they're from and all that. I haven't really looked into this album beyond the single here with the Devouring Presence, but the song convinced me well enough, and the description of the album convinced me well enough to look into this one further and eventually review it. I think that the Oblation of Man obviously carries a lot of the traits that I'm looking for between finding a foundation in old school death metal, but also kind of dissonant death metal. Check out this song. I think this is one of the more interesting things I've come across in the last couple of weeks. And finally, we have an announcement from Memento Mori and Misaku and Oho Records with the April 27th release of Candarian's debut album, Trepanation. This is a Costa Rican band that features members of some pretty great bands like Monarch, Astriferous, Umbra Consciente, a bunch of other ones that are all great. I think that if you're in touch with the San Jose Costa Rican death metal scene, you know a lot of these people, a broad number of acts, and all of it is quality, including this. This is more of like an old school death metal, but kind of brutal, gory kind of thing, as you can see. Check out Skull Drilling Exorcism right here. So I appreciate you stopping by, checking out some new releases with me. As always, check out the site, follow me on social media, keep in touch, and have a good weekend.